stakeholders and people that have worked this place far longer than we humbly are doing it now. So there is no other state assignment than being here to listen as a practitioner in this government now and be able to take this forward. So, Mr. Chairman, after my very small remark, I will still sit down and still be able to take other notes. The conversation here today. But I stand here as a simple citizen that has a responsibility and has that constitution, however faulty it is, for me to ensure that I provide a sustainability or a life of sustainability for my people. And so the question I ask myself is, if we've been doing the same thing over and over again, since 1979, since 1999, and we have not gotten the change that we desire, what is wrong with us? Let's get it practical. Let's remove the gloss and let's be able to spare and deal with this. Conversations like this, how do we take it forward? You cannot bring eminent Nigerians, people that have done better part of their time serving this country, have a discussion, a conversation, and you cannot take it forward to become something that we can live with, that we can, take forward and make sure that we have a concrete solution. Then we're wasting our time. And that's why when we rise from this place, whatever are the communicate or whatever are the resolutions, the question will be, how do we take it forward? How must the Patriots, which you, sir, lead, have an opportunity to let the heirs and the people that will make those changes make it happen? It's not only Senator Tamboa today, with all due respect. It is to be able, given the number of people that are here, take this conversation and make it very, very effective. I have seen that speakers on to speakers have talked about the fact that it's not the National Assembly that will make those amendments. And it makes a lot of logical sense. It is for the National Assembly to set up, to constitute a law, a simple law, where the people will come together and make those amendments for themselves. And so we need to be able to be clear. It's not big grammar. It is something very simple and which we can take forward. I stand there as a leader of a larger state, and if it is a voice to use me as an advocate to take that forward in the National Assembly, then it becomes a force for us to take it forward. How well do we see the anomalies that we have in our country? Why would we have a federal agency come to control the water in front of Uzumbambadiwe? Why would we have a federal agency in 1,000 kilometers away to come and see the need of my people right on Uzumbambadiwe here? Those are some of the things that we will need to be able to tell forward and say that indeed we need to have a true federating state and be able to amend this constitution. I have seen, and I don't know what is wrong at the federal, and I don't know if I'll get there, but I don't know what is wrong at the federal, because you will see state officials who were fighting the same cause as state officials. The moment they get to federal, they do a 360 and begin to fight against the same thing that they were fighting at the states. Several, and I'm wondering, what is going on? What has happened? You were on this role at the state level. Now you're at federal. For you to continue to pursue it, you do a 360 and you are fighting a law that you kept in your... Sir, these are the issues. And I don't know what exactly is. And it's because, indeed, we said it, it's large and it's big, and there's something about the federal that just sucks everybody. We need to be able to unravel this. We need to be able to be bold, be audacious, be forward-thinking, and take this thing. This is our country. We have no other one. And we've all discussed and had this conversation. Please, I am a willing convert. Whatever it is that we need to do, there are so many excellency, serving an excellence. And let us be able to make the change we desire. And let us be able to make the change that we desire, and let the soul of Professor Ben Nwabueze rest in peace, because this was something that he fought for over 60 years of his life. And we're still here talking about it. We have the opportunity to make those changes now. And I stand here to say to you that we're willing to work with you to make those changes. Thank you very much, and I take my seat. Hello? Hello? Please, can we rise and give the standing ovation to His Excellency, Babajide Sanwo-Olu? From that commitment, it's a great commitment that is ready to drive this. It's a commitment given to the Monday 18th March 2024, and we're going by that. A round of applause for him, please. Thank you, Your Excellency, for that commitment. That's a great one to move this country for once and for all since 1914. It is really sad. We know the truth, but it can't set us free. It's really troubling. But I won't go into any sermon now because the chairman said we must be very moderate here. I'd like to quickly call to the program. We go to the Senate, right to the Senate. We are going to that Senate now. The former governor of Sokoto, we are also going to the north. He's wearing two caps here. It's no other person than our own, right? Honorable, and a former speaker, a current senator, and a former governor of Sokoto State from North. Our own friend and comrade, right, Honorable Aminu Tambua. You are welcome, sir. Thank you. My good friend, Wale Veteran Chair, the chairman of this very important platform, and former Secretary General of the Commonwealth of Nations, the leaders who are present. I will use Adebanjo as the contact point. The guest speaker, my good friend, Mike Ezekome, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. Very many eminent leaders who are present, families and members of the family, rather, of our late leader, Professor Ben Nwabueze, that are here. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen of the press, I will begin by thanking the organizers of this event in honor of this great Nigerian, a legendary legal luminary who really gave in his best, particularly in the evolution of not only the legal profession, but particularly the Constitution of Nigeria and many other African countries, and to say that we have indeed lost a leader at a time when our country is really in need of that reservoir of wisdom that is had. But the beauty of it is that this man didn't go away with all of his thoughts. He put so many of them out there. He wrote so many books, so many seminars, and whatever possibly we are looking for, even in this conversation, has been provided for in one way or the other by Professor Ben Nwabueze. So it is right for us to pay our tribute to him and to thank God Almighty for providing him and giving Nigeria such a personality. May his soul rest in peace. Mr. Chairman, I am sure I was not invited to come here as someone who is just there in the Senate. My colleague also, Senator Benga Daniel, is right seated, so I'm not alone. At some point in time, I was beginning to feel whether all of this room is coming on my head, but whenever I look across and I see him, I say, okay, at least I am not alone.
I, as said by the guest speaker, I've been in the National Assembly since 2003. I've participated in several attempts to amend the Constitution. Of course, some succeeded, some failed. And deriving from the conversation here today, I must admit that I have been enriched, particularly on the way forward, the pathway, because what we are in now is a conundrum. If you say the Constitution lacks legitimacy and it is beyond repairs, you cannot amend it. And the Constitution says, look, the only way you can amend the Constitution is going through this pathway. Then you are actually in a conundrum. But conversations, platforms such as this are providing some rays of light into how to navigate our way out of this conundrum. And I must admit that what my brother said here, and ably supported by Dr. Abayumi, is making some sense to me, not only as a member of parliament, not only as a said former governor, but also as a member of the legal profession and a live bencher for that matter, that we can promulgate or enact a law now. In any case, we did it when we had doctrine of necessity. When the situation of Erdogan got to where it got to, the 7th National Assembly and the 6th came up with the doctrine of necessity, and that was how the National Assembly bailed the cat. So we can as well resort to yet another doctrine of necessity, if it is so prescribed or described, to come up with this legislation that will enable the commencement of the process of us having a constitution for we, the people of Nigeria. And let me support my brother, the governor of Lagos. We are there with Governor Daniel, who will provide our offices to collaborate with the Patriots and all well-meaning Nigerians to move and promote that bill that will now establish the referendum commission for us to have and make a pathway. I think with this, I can go and sit down and listen to the rest of presentations, and then at the end of the day, we'll compare notes and see what we have to do. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Great one. I trust you. I've always trusted you. Another standing ovation, please, for Governor Tambua. Thank you for the commitment coming from the Senate of Nigeria in conjunction, collaboration with Governor Otumba Daniel. We thank you very much. Now, quickly, I've been ordered by the chairman to take Right Honorable Nwabueze now, and then take Elder Solomon Asemota after him, because he's the elder in the house. So I quickly want to bring to the microphone a distinguished Nigerian former governor of Rivers State, very humble personality, but a fighter. Governor, former minister, Governor Rotimi, former chairman of the Governor's Forum, former Speaker, House of Assembly, Rivers State, Governor Rotimi. I'm making a round of applause for him, please.
Mr. Chairman and distinguished shareholders, I will take more than 3 minutes. I will make no contribution, just one question. We have had these conferences over and over. Is it a lie? In fact, you called him a veteran, so many veterans. These conferences produce a South-South president. Each ethnic group will start through federalism, they give them power, they will play with him. True federalism will die. Is there any true federalism again in South-South? Now they cocaine. You not come, you produce a president. Any change? Is there any change? God bless you.
Thank you, very short. He has shown this to us that we need to do something. There has to be change. The whole essence of all this intervention is to have a positive change. And Mr. Chairman, that is put at your table. Chairman of Patriots, how we are going to navigate the change is now of high essence to the Chairman of Patriots and the Governor of Lagos State and the Senate that has given commitment. We'd like to thank you, Governor Nwabueze. I bring the other statement quickly for other former governors. I know Governor Kayode is here, veteran on this matter. He started this process in 1999 with some of us. Elder Solomon as senator to the podium for his intervention. SAN, one of the longest serving senior advocate of Nigeria, in Nigeria. Elder Solomon as senator, SAN. A round of applause for him, please.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm very grateful. And in particular to the Governor of Lagos State, because I concur with what you say. I also concur with everything Atta had said. You know why? Because he's one of the older members of the Patriots. And what he said was exactly our viewpoint on the issue. But before then, I'd like to recommend to everybody that before we do anything, we need to interrogate 1914. Let's understand what exactly happened to us, why they took it, and my paper answers that. And after the interrogation, then we know how we're going to progress in the future. Was it a manipulation? Did the British shape us in such a way that we do not know what the whole situation is? And I put all the points. And people talk about tradition and democracy. This has to be looked into. I believe that when we finish that, Mr. Chairman, then we will go to the governor and go to the lawmakers with a draft, which they will approve. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Elder Solomon Asemota, for being very brief. Round of applause for you. I've just spoken with Chief Ayade Banjo that may be the last to speak, to round up. So we want Baba to rest a bit. But now, please permit me to quickly call to the podium Dr. Kayode, who also is very profound on this matter and can give us another perspective. He started it with us, and I want to see what he's bringing to the table at this point. Governor Kayode, if I round of applause for him, please.
Thank you, Chair. Excellency the Governor, our leaders who are here. I'm delighted to be part of this gathering in honor of our elder statesman, Prof. Nwabueze. There's really very little to add to what we have had, and I would rather not waste time. We started this process as the Citizens Forum for Constitutional Reform in 1999. And I recall our first meeting in 1999, where the then Attorney General, late Chibola, came to speak with us. And the goal was to get to a referendum. And listening to my comrade brother, he used to be a comrade before. I don't know what he has become now. In his days of UDD, he was a comrade. The SAN sometimes play games with people. No, but seriously, he's still a comrade. And from what he has proposed to us, following on also from what we've heard from Governor Sanwo-Olu, from former Governor Atta, and my Vice Chair in the Governor's Forum, Senator Aminu Tambuwal, I think what we really should focus on is how do we build consensus in the National Assembly in order to achieve this goal of a National Referendum Commission? And how do we build consensus in response to what Governor Sanwo-Olu said about how things change when people transit from state to federal? It doesn't always happen that way, but there's a preponderance of opinion that it does happen. So the consensus we need to build is on the legislative side and it's on the executive side. And the Patriot can take this as the leading proponent of this. And the rest of us who have been on this journey for as long as one can remember will join sir to work with you in order to achieve that consensus. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Kayode, for another great commitment. And those of us who have been on this journey will join Patriots to bring it to fruition. We thank you for that commitment and statement. Now I'd like to also quickly bring here another former governor of a great state in Nigeria. He has sent a paper in. He's also been a legislator before now, Governor Ibukule Hamosu. Governor Ibukule Hamosu, please. A round of applause, former governor of Ogun State. Well, welcome, sir.
Thank you, Wally. I'll be brief too. The governor, you are warmly welcome. The chairman of today's occasion, all our elders, let me use Baba Adebanjo as a point of reference. We are all in here. I mean, we are always saying the same thing now. And as the lawyers will say, I'm sure they will say substance over form. We all agree on one thing, that our constitution is faulty. I don't want to say we don't have a constitution, but of course we can improve on it. I think what we should do, having had the opportunity of serving, having experience in both the legislative arm and the executive arm, I think what we should do now is to just carry what all of us has been saying. And we want to recommend and suggest that the Patriots as a group, all the outcome of this colloquium should be taken. Take it to the National Assembly. We invite the elders, go and meet the political officers. Indeed, you can even meet all of them and let them know this is our advice. This is what we think is the way forward. And don't stop at that. Let's do the line of Governor Sanwo-Olu. Take this in as well. You can seek elders with Mr. President. You can even seek elders with all the bodies of the speakers in Nigeria. So let us take this in a way. We have been at this since 1950s. And all our leaders, our elders, some of them died fighting for this just cause. And that is why we all gathered here today to honor that erudite constitutional lawyer, Professor Nwabueze. Please, in their memory, and the memory of those giants that have fought. You keep fighting. Some of us are still around. Some of them are still around with us. I think we should just take those steps. And I'm sure that we will get there. The National Assembly has been there. We want this in fact, as you wanted it. So go and meet them, seek elders with them, seek elders with Mr. President, seek elders with all the various ethnic groups too. Let them know this is where we find ourselves. The next step is to just have, just like everybody is saying, a referendum commission. We'll put it in place and we'll get to where we are going. On that note, thank you for inviting me once again.
Thank you very much, Senator Ibukule, also former governor of Ogun State. I will call another governor who was his predecessor. Not now. I'm going to separate it a bit and then go to Cross River State. Because Cross River State is not intervening now. So I come to Osun. I come to our own college, the only Ogbeni in Yoruba land, at least the recognized one. Ogbeni Rauf Aregbesola. A round of applause for him as he makes his intervention. I recognize those on the high table, and I must thank the organizers for inviting me. I subscribe to virtually everything said. They have two motions to move. The first motion is about democratic representation. We have been talking about form of government, constitution. How do we elect people to the parliament? Yes, globally, where we have is where we do in Nigeria. I see a fault. I see an error in it. People are elected based on residence. And the truth is, with modern life, we are disconnected. Yes, in the traditional society, residence could be a forum of relationship, of engagement. But in modern life, it is not. We are united more by the production, through production. So, in therefore seeking appropriate democratic representation, let us look at production as the basis of representation. That's my first submission. I'm not an expert in political science, but I've looked at it. Do we have the best form of representation? The answer is no. People are engaged more in production, in whatever form. Let us seek out to define a way of representation that will ensure that productivity, production, productive art, and those engaged in production in several forms and services are given opportunity to elect their best to represent them. That's my first submission. The second submission on this matter is simple. It's been said that it has not been put forcibly. What is it? It is, can Nigeria survive executive presidential system? My answer is capital no. Let us agree on parliamentary system. As to what form, we have different forms of parliamentary system. We have absolute parliamentary system of the British. We have the French parliamentary system. And we have the South African parliamentary system. Let us define which one we want to follow. The presidential system is a death knell for Nigeria. We cannot survive it. And on that note, once again, my greetings to the family of the professor we are here to commemorate and honor. And all the patriots, we thank you for your tenacity, for your perseverance, and for your doggedness. May God give you the enablement to take it to the final end before you all depart. Thank you. Everybody say amen to that. Thank you very much, Your Excellency of Governor. Yes, now I go back to Cross River State and I bring to the podium immediately Governor Donald Duke. Donald Duke is a member of the Patriots. For your information, a strong member of the Patriots. You are welcome to the microphone. God bless you.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Chairman, Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, a lot has been said here. I think it's procedurally that we should be looking at now and not essentially the substance, because there's a broad consensus on that. If I may, I think we ought to start with the president of this country. The way that, realistically, the way we're structured in Nigeria, if we don't have the buy-in of the president, this will never work. So there's a lot of work to be done there. And this is where God was someone who I think was alluding that the transition from state to the national also has implications. When the president buys into it, I think he will call a meeting of the Council of States where the governors are fully represented and former presidents. And from there, instructions will be given to the Attorney General, who would then proceed to perhaps draft a bill for the National Assembly to assent to. So it's a procedural process that we should be talking about, because we already have a consensus on what we should do. But let me also go back to what Governor Amaechi said. This whole constitutional thing is important. But you know, who we elect to govern. The constitution we have now, if we had the right people, it would work somewhat. It's not perfect, somewhat. And we will never get a perfect constitution. But the bigger problem we have are the characters we elect to operate the system. I thank you.
Thank you very much, because We have those characters because the Constitution itself allows it. And therefore, the Constitution must be dealt with first. That's the foundation. For if the foundation be faulty, what can the righteous do? Thank you, Governor Donald. Let me, at this point, I have been told that we have so many of our leaders of thought on Zoom, and they want to intervene. I don't have their list. I know Professor Patriots is there. I know Akim Baba Ahmed is there. I know Senator Enshaw and Ajiablikisu Maguru. But then we still have in the house. We still have in the house eminent Nigerians who are going to intervene here, and I won't forget my own governor and a member of the core of our progressive movement under Chief Tony Enauru of blessed memory. He gave a standing instruction about him when he was about to go, that Otuba Daniel is his home. So I want to do that now. I want to call on former governor of Ogun State, Otuba Binga Daniel, to make his intervention quickly. Otuba Binga Daniel, please. He is an honorable child.
Our chairman, Your Excellency, elder statesmen, former governors, very eminent personalities. The time is fast spent, therefore I will not waste time. But the first thing I want to do is to commend the governor of Lagos State. Because for those of us who knows what he has just said, an identification is a heavy statement. I'm coming from Nando. If you know that in the last, God knows how many years, I've had the privilege of interacting with many of the people who have had cause to superintend over this country. And like somebody said, many of them, prior to getting to power, say the right things. And you think that when and if they get there, this will happen. But somehow, those appear there is something in that also wrong. Probably because they feel that, how can I sit over this and dismantle it? So this actually had been our greatest challenge. And that is why I'm especially commending the governor for being bold. Without any doubt from what the others have said, if we can get the buy-in of the president, we have learned something, and definitely with my brother, the former governor of Sokoto and former speaker, now senator, that we can go and actually enact a law. And if we enact that law, then possibly, in my own opinion, I'm not even aware of what we want to say that has not been said in 2014. If we go enact a law and actually ask that the process of 2014 be activated, then we will have a new constitution without wasting money, effort, and time. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, Otuba Binga Daniel, for that quick intervention. I have a list here because we will waste time. The governor is here seated, and he said there could not be any other state function than this. I took that this is the most fundamental state function, because this is the foundation of the country. And I've just been informed that I have to take Governor James Ibori quickly before coming to Akim Baba Ahmed, Professor Patriots, General Kewanchukwuachi, Pa Ayo Adebanjo, Chief James Ibori, please. What's that title? You are welcome, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much. The chairman of this occasion, Your Excellency, the governor of Lagos, and my younger brother,
distinguished former governors, ladies and gentlemen, a lot has been said. To say now is put life to what my former colleagues have said. And that is where we can progress this discussion without the buy-in of a sitting president. Let me not say the sitting president, a sitting president. And some of you know, or at least I have the experience, having been governor of Delta for 8 years, and having myself advocated for true federalism and resource control in conjunction with Obangata and my colleagues in the South-South. I can tell you that on 2 occasions, I sat with the president that we sat with on this matter. And on the 2 occasions, he was not convinced that we had a very bad structure. So the first thing to do is to ask the governor of Lagos to take a arbitrage to quietly with the president so we can get his buy-in, convince him. And now, from my experience, when we were advocating for true federalism and resource control, and with due respect to all my other colleagues, the governor of Lagos then, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, was the only Southwest governor that joined us in that advocacy. So it doesn't need much convincing. The question will be, now that he's sitting there, like my brother Ben said, will he begin to contemplate, am I going to preside over the dismemberment of Nigeria? But first, the question is, it's not about dismemberment, it's about the correction of the anomaly called the Federal Republic of Nigeria, because indeed it's not federal by any means. So please, let us take that first step to have it. I must disclose, and I've also raised it with him. In the 9 months he's been in office or so, I have had the opportunity to raise it with him. Governor of Lagos, lead us with the president. Before I take my seat, I want to correct this impression in our southern brothers that our northern politicians are the problem. It is not true. There are so many federalists in northern Nigeria who are practicing politicians. I'm sure you've listened to, you just heard former governor of Sokoto State, Nwabueze speak. There are a few of them who are liberal, who have the belief that Nigeria will work better if we have a perfect and near perfect federal structure. So we also need to go to them and convince them that their states, the various states, will do better in a proper federal structure. So let's not begin to paint all of them with one brush. We need to engage them closely, make them know. I will tell you a story. When we were doing the advocacy, I used to have one of my leaders, he's dead now, I'm so to be Dr. Ibn Ubeku, who told me a story that he used to serve in Sokoto, in LTC, I believe. And when he was transferred to Lagos, he would send for rice from Sokoto, put it on the train, and the rice would come all the way to Udo. He would drive to Udo to pick it up. What was he saying? That the states themselves can do well and do better if there's competition. Because a true federal structure actually encourages competition among states. And there are so many of our brothers in the north who will buy into that idea. So we do not have to write them off. We need to engage them and engage the president and the sitting governors. Some of the sitting governors today, we also need to be convinced that this is an idea whose time has come and must be done. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency James Sibori from Delta State. A round of applause for him, please. He said we may have to get the buy-in of the sitting president. We do not really need so much of convincing. That is the point he has made. And I know our chairman is up to that task, to get the buy-in, because the Nigerian president is too powerful, almost like a god if you look at the constitution. But that is a matter for another day. We have on Zoom Dr. Akim Baba Ahmed, who is the political advisor to the president of political matters. I don't know if he wants to intervene now, to show you that we are also reaching out. It's an inclusive process. But before I do that, I want to call another elder statesman, Chief Olabode George, to the podium. Chief Olabode George, to make his intervention. Chief Olabode George is a senior delegate of the 2014 National Confab that we are commemorating the 10th years today. The National Confab 2014 was inaugurated by President Goodluck Jonathan on 17 March 2014, and today is 18th March 2024, making it 10 years. So here we bring a delegate of that National Confab, in which I was also a delegate to the podium. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members of the coordinating table, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is a pleasure to see a congregation like this discussing the way forward for our nation. Since 2014, when we were at the Confab, I was so glad to have been a member and listened very attentively to all the discussions. Now, 2014, we're now in 2024. I want to plead, because I've listened to many of the speakers here, and something was rolling in my mind, because they said the truth to power. This system we're running is not working. Yes, I came from the military background, and I'll tell you the story today. Because I have been in the military, had a non-regimental appointment, and now came out to be a politician. Don't blame all these issues on the military, because they also are Nigerians. I will plead, apart from convincing the current president that it is time to change our direction. If we don't, we take one step ahead and 10 steps backwards. Why? You don't need to be a highfalutin gentleman for you to have been educated today here of all the issues. I'm not a lawyer, but listening to people. I want to plead with Baba, who is also my in-law, Chief Ayoko. So whatever it takes. Since Governor of Lagos, for the first time since he's been governor, won my heart today. Because he said the truth to power. Because someday he will leave.
what would you say to the people after leaving? Sir, the coordination, the reports, the discussions, not only should it be for the press, those who have contacts with the president, let them go. Call Akpabio, Senate President, sit him down. We will listen. Because someday, in any public appointment, as you have a date of entry, you will have a date of exit. It is only when you do what you do while in office that will live after you. Nigerians are crying. Sir, I had delegations from the north, Northern Youth Council. They came to my office in Lagos and said, sir, we want to see you. All these are the issues raised by these young men. And the leader said, now we are educated. We are back home. There is no job. They can eat. And they are back to the huts left by their fathers. And I looked at them and said, wow. So they asked me, do something for us, sir. And they turbaned me. So the issue is not only south or north. What about this kidnapping? The insecurity in the nation today. I'm almost 80 now, sir, and I cannot say this nation has given me the fulfillment as a citizen. Please, the managers, whatever you want us to do, or add value to it, sir, we will do. It is important. It is very important, especially to the younger generations that are coming. Let us help them. I had written a big paper. I will hand it over to Professor Kila or you on my thoughts. I don't have to come here and repeat most of the things people have said. But whatever it is you want us to do, I will be available. Once again, I congratulate the organizers, and I want to remember Professor Nwabueze, an icon, a man that under any condition, he will stand up, he will tell the truth, he will tell exactly what is in his mind. So today is a day to thank God for his life. And that since his children are also here and his wife, may the angels of heaven sing him to his final resting place. Once again, I thank you, gentlemen. It's been a wonderful day and I've enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Distinguished delegates of the 2014 National Confab, Chief Nwabueze George. I quickly want to ask delegates of that confab who are here to stand up for recognition. Delegate 2014, please stand up for recognition. Those who are delegates of the 2014 National Confab here. A round of applause for them, please. A round of applause. Okay. Yes, we have your time to intervene, but quickly let me call on. Yes, I hear that Dr. Nwabueze is on the Zoom. Professor Patriots is on the Zoom. Dr. Akim Baba Ahmed on the Zoom. And then Ajia Biliki Sumagoro. But I will quickly want to take General Ike Wachukwu's intervention. General Ike Wachukwu is the founding member of the Patriots. And he will be having his intervention now. General Ike, a round of applause for him, please.
Our Chairman, Your Excellencies, Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, our country needs a new constitution. There needs to be a consensus here. How to go about it? We've been told also. What we need to do now is carry on and have it happen. I'm a simple infantry general. We run a military government, a military era. We set in motion policies and laws we believe will make the country a better country. We handed a 1999 constitution to our people. Today, it is absolutely clear that it's not working for the good of Nigeria. Therefore, I hear you all saying here, set that aside, correct the mistakes, and move our country forward. Our governor in Lagos State has given his commitment to join in this procedure. And I believe our president, who himself is a fighter for democracy, I recall way back then when he and a few others were forced out of this country in exile. They returned in 1999, became governor of Lagos State, and continued the fight for deregulation, more powers to the states, autonomy, and so on. Now, as president of Nigeria, we need to aid him to join in that chain. Reason why? He swore May 29 to defend his constitution. But so the way to give him the pardon to begin to change that is for the National Assembly, that is the people's authority to rule Nigeria, to pass that law into which he will sign onto, and giving him that support, I believe the president will join in making this change. Lastly, no state in Nigeria, I repeat, no state in Nigeria is insolvent. I hear some economists say so, and I said to them, why are you saying this kind of thing? Every state in this country is viable. But I don't expect a civil servant in Kano that has more money than Abia State to earn the same salary. Abia State to develop based on what they have, as Kano will do it. So Lagos State will develop at our own space. And somebody in Jigawa State would earn less, but they will run their services, based on the revenues available to them. That's the way to run a federation. And the federal government would then support states that I need, either in loan or in grant, to do what they have to do. But we need to decentralize, give the states more authority, and have our zones, all states as a federating unit. Lastly, I want to beg of you to rise with me, to remember the founding members of this Patriot, Chief F.R.A. Williams, Chief Abraham Adesanya, Chief Bola Ige, Dr. Pius Okibo, Professor Joy Ruku, Alhaji Ganiu Daudu. Please ride with me and remember them, because without their thoughts and their vision, we won't be talking as pictures. May their souls rest in perfect peace. Thank you.
Thank you very much, General Kiwashuku, Your Excellency, for the honor done to the founding members of the Patriots. I'd like to quickly recognize Dr. Yemi, who gives a round of applause for him. Honorable Sheikh Busholu, all the way from the Bush. A round of applause for him. Akobu Kola Omodipe, a round of applause too. And now I want to take the microphone quickly to our leader, the leader of the Yorubas. That's how we call it. When you are a very leader, we say you are the leader of Yorubas. We have no apology for that. We don't have, because that is the ground norm. So I like to take the microphone to the leader of our Ferry, a veteran, an analyst, an action group champion, Chief Ayo Adebanjo. A round of applause for you, Chief Ayo Adebanjo.
Mr. Chairman, distinguished Nigerians, great patriots of this country, lovers of progress, lovers of democracy, who are present to honor a man to whom honor is due. Before I make my speech, I want to say one or two things about Professor Nwabueze. It's the greatest gift to Nigeria that we sell abroad proudly. The greatest gift to Africa, the greatest gift to the democratic world in the constitutional making of democratic democracy. It's not too young to die, but it's too good to be missed. Anyway, Mrs. Nwabueze, take consolation in the fact that you are not only mourning a great man, the whole country is mourning with you. You are not mourning, you are celebrating a great man who left the children of time. May he show rest in peace. Now, to the intervention. Mr. Zekoma here has gone. As a colleague, as I said, and I got a paper. But there are one or two things I want to underline which I don't agree with you. I agree principally because time is gone. If you are sincere to move forward, to change the constitution now, and not tell me get it to 2050 or something. Tell the 2014 Constitutional Conference. There's one or two people to update it. You can't get a better representation of this country other than those who are the 2014 National Conference. And I've challenged this properly on several occasions to say there can be a better representation of this country other than the representation put up by Jonathan in the 2040 Constitution. The Shari was there, and as, of course, as the Zekoma mentioned, no aspect of the country that was not there. And what is significant that many people don't know, the Constitution of Nigeria all over the years were brought before the conference and set up its committees to reconcile and to get the best. That's number one. Now, the government says that is the best thing because of what I don't know what I did. My sympathy for those who are just talking, who don't understand why many of us say, go back to 1963 Constitution, go back to the Independence Constitution. What led to what? The Colonial gave us a unity form of government with a lot of iniquities and injustice in favor of the North against the South. That is what many of you are shining, now fighting, shine off. That is the position. It is they who say they are more than the South. It is they who did all sorts of things. But when the Constitution of 1954 was confirmed in London Conference, All these things were ironed out. Before then, all the proceedings and revenue of the South were used to maintain the North. They should not force it out. The question of what you call the chance control now was revenue under derivation. She found out proof that every state or every region should keep its revenue and just give a percentage to the North. Before then, was not true. And before then, there was no premiership or federation. We had only the leader of government business. So by the time they went to London Constitutional Conference and came back after the British Constitution, federalism was established to remove all the iniquities of colonialism, which has pointed out that in a rural society in Nigeria, you cannot rule under a unity form of government. And that was accepted. By so doing, we go back to derivation, and that derivation that gave the North what it is entitled to under Granite, and gave the Southwest what it is entitled to under Cocoa, and gave the Southeast what it is entitled to under palm kernel. By so doing, a lot of money went to where should go. But when the military came in 1966, we had abolished all this. And all this that have been causing conflict that have been removed under the Mafia Constitution were restored and were loaded against the South in favor of the North. That is what many of you have been fighting shy to talk about. Particularly those who are afraid under this presidential constitution, which is dictatorial. And I don't agree with Zakoma, go to the National Assembly. National Assembly is a product of the fraud of the constitution. It is the military that created it. It is the military that created all the states of the Federation without any yardstick, created by the North, based in the South, created states, one in the North, one in the South. These are all what we went to the 2014 National Constitution. How can you say we want to have made a constitution? We have all agreed that it's a fraud. We have all agreed that it's not working. We have all agreed that it's against us. We have all agreed that both self-governance, left governance. I'm happy someone is here. I pity the day he went to the place where there was a district, and there was a district there. He told the police, I am the governor. They said, yes. Mr. Governor, say yes. Without the governor. That is the constitution we want to do now. This is the constitution that makes Lagos to contribute the best in Nigeria and get the least. We are fighting shy of that. And I warn you, there is no president under this constitution. See the dictatorial powers under it that we like to change it. Not even Tinubu. Tinubu was with us when we are in the churches. And my position, my position to the assembly is consistent with the position of our fellow at the issue in 1999. When sometimes said, we should come and do the election. The fellow said, no. If the British go back to the barracks, let them go back with their baggage of the constitution. We turn us back to the constitution, or we have a sovereign national conflict. It's your record. We said we should take back the fellow said, no, we're not going to. And Salam said, well, if we are going to do democracy, have the government first.
fact, the government of that day didn't recognize Alliance for Democracy. It was Absalom that told them that I want to do an election without the Yorubas. They are joking. It was them who had forced them to put Alliance for Democracy. And Alliance for Democracy then contested that election on protest. Then there must be a sovereign national conference before the election because the constitution is a fraud. So we contested that election and won the mandate of the people of Western region and told our government then not to have anything to do with Abuja until the sovereign national conference complete. At that time, sovereign national conference was misconstrued even by Obasanjo. He said that one is a reputation whether to have sovereignty. I said no. The sovereign national conference we are asking for is for the sovereignty of that, the constitution we made there, the sovereign, not subject to any amendment by the military subtraction or obstruction. That is where we are today. So we are still there. Anything to recognize that fraud, we change it. And we are expected to change our constitution by a constitution we do not make. How is that consistent? They say, come on, you're a good lawyer. I don't understand. That will confuse me. You agree that this people will replace this constitution and they are using provision of that constitution to amend the constitution we don't know about. I don't agree. In summary, as I said, if we are serious about changing this constitution now for the betterment of the country, I don't know if Sekoma has said, Patriots Secretariat template, and let Tinubu has the best advantage. He was in the churches with us to set up a committee to work on it within 3 months and give us a new constitution and we move forward.
Thank you very much, Chief Ayadibanjo, the leader of Afenifere. Well, we'd like to thank the Central News Africa for giving us live coverage. As we are here, we are having live coverage, so we thank you, News Central Africa. We thank you, thank you very much. Let me also inform you that we have lunch for participants at the end of this event. I'd like to recognize Fafa and Priswin. You are welcome all the way from River State. Thank you for coming. Yes, we have Professor Otomi waiting on Zoom, Dr. Obizi Kosili. But let me call on Professor Uwaya to make intervention in 1 minute. Then Alhaji Shetima Yorima, all the way from the north, the leader of Ariwa Youth. Yes, Shetima first, before the elder. Yes, Shetima Yorima, all the way from the north. That's the leader of the Ariwa Youth Consultative Forum. Ariwa Youth Consultative Forum. Please come and make your intervention. The chairman says 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Alhaji Shetima Yorima. Before I call on Professor Ayawa.
Mr. Chairman, sir. Governor of Lagos State, former governors, leaders here present, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I sometimes get worried when the North, with all due respect to our elder, a father, Chief Ayadibanjo, who I will call our mentor because we work closely with him from the dark days, subsequently to a day like this. I get worried when leaders who are looking up to look at the entire North and cast aspersion on them. I get worried.
Because the truth of the matter is that we are more victim of this system than some of you in other part of the southern part of this country. But yet, if an issue of this nature comes up, the entire North will be looked and be cast as passion on, and this is not right. Some of us grew in your mix. Some of us were your students. You mentored us. We're part of the struggle. We are product of struggles. So when you don't consider looking at people like us and you cast as passion, but next time you are saying we are stupid and fools, that's what we feel. It's not expected. We are all victims. I have always been an advocate of this struggle. I have always been an advocate of total decentralization of this system. We cannot get it right if we continue to manage the center as it is today. So I am one of those who believe strongly that we need to decentralize the central government to make the center less attractive. So for over 2 decades we will be in this struggle. So I am of the view, or my advice is that sometimes if leaders want to talk, let them specifically make mention of individuals who have bastardized the systems rather than generalize it. We don't belong that we can't take that responsibility. Great Nigerian people, I am of the view that something is wrong and I believe in it. We cannot manage this constitution. And the other problem also I have with our senior comrade, Mike Ezokume, I've known that for over time we've always been advocating for how do we re-engineer a process of a new constitution, which I was a lead director in Pronaco under Chief Anthony Naura and Life Evolution, blessed memory of Beko Ramson Kuti. We came up with a draft constitution. And at that time, we make it very clear that we cannot continue to manage this document that's been foisted on us. Abdulsalam Abubakar does not represent the North. That's the truth of it. That document was foisted on us, and as Nigerian will say, no, you can't force it, because even when I'm not a lawyer, I know there's a difference between a legal document and a document that have legitimacy. The 1999 constitution does not have legitimacy. Let Nigerian people. So I rest my case at this point. Baba, thank you.
Thank you very much, Alhaji Shetima Yerima, the leader of the Hariwari Youth Consultative Forum. Now, we want to quickly take the elder, Professor Aya to make his intervention in 3 minutes again. I recognize Yaludi Agbokoya. A round of applause for Yaludi Agbokoya. That's Yaludi Agbokoya. And all the women in the house. Professor Aya, please.
Thank you. Chief Anyoko, for those of us who have been involved in this struggle over the last 30 years in this country, we will say that you will be considered a fortunate person, that you got all these people, and things that we have found difficult to agree to, we have got the consensus there. So we thank God, and we hope we'll work from there. But there is one little thing I need to point out. The national conference was possible because there was the Okurumu committee. I was a member. Solomon Asemota was a member. We laid the foundations on how the conference can be run, different from the ones that have gone before. And I think we ought to give that credit. Finally, I need to say, there's a whole lot of background to why the national conference succeeded. And we need to download some of that. I'm available to work with whichever the Patriots set up, work actively, so that which is necessary in our country, we can get the kind of country that you and me deserve. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Aya. I must also announce that distinguished Senator Ben Obi, a senior member of the Patriots, is also on Zoom. Can we have Mr. Chairman, sir? No, okay, Mr. Chairman has overruled.
that it may not be appropriate at this point to take intervention from the Zoom. Therefore, we take two more persons from the floor. The lady from National Confab, Chief Ifeyiwa, should please step forward so that we can have a female voice. Add the female voice to this 2014 National Confab delegate. I see Mr. Sheikh Shehu raising his hand. I will later have to hand over to Professor Kila to help us with moderation of this program. So please quickly come, Madam Ifeyiwa is the one of the 2014 National Confab.
Good afternoon, everybody. I would like to ask a question, and I would like Obengwan to please answer me. There was a draft that was, I think, during the National Confab 2014. There was a draft, constitutional draft, that was brought to the people, I remember that, and they talked about it. I was even thinking that draft would be discussed here, because we have the documents. I represented the market structure, Yaloja of Southeast. I am the Rich Mama Market, which is our president, Felicia Asani, was our national president. I think that draft should be looked into. Let us even know what, because I'm not a lawyer, but I'm a representative. I want you to answer this question. Tell us what is that draft is all about, and what can we achieve? Because in as much as we're talking about going to National Assembly or whatever, we have a document already with us. Can we deliberate on it and make it work? Thank you very much.
Mike Ozekome, Professor Mike Ozekome, please to come and answer that question quickly. In 2 minutes. That's the keynote speaker.
Thank you very much. She was there, very much there, very active under the auspices of Mama Market Chief Mrs. Sani. I'm her son, very close to her. Yes, like I said earlier, I actually headed the subcommittee on the ways and means of achieving the results of the 2014 National Conference. So I'm privy to all that happened. In fact, I've written a book on the conference itself. I called it Nigeria, I titled it Nigeria We Hail Thee. The entire conference report, those that were made for constitutionalism, were adequately captured, and we even had a draft of a constitution which was submitted to the then president, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, by the time we finished about July 2014. But of course, it was very close to the elections. And I remember it was then presented to the National Assembly. So my own answer to that, therefore, is that that document, rather than start afresh altogether, we have a document that is ready that the National Assembly can now promulgate a law, which I had already mentioned, to set up a National Referendum Commission, NRC, which will now look at that draft of 2014, marry it with the beautiful sections of the 1963 Republican Constitution, and then whatever beautiful suggestions the National Assembly has now in their current constitutional amendment deliberations. And then we can have a new constitution. That was why I said this thing cannot be more than maximum 6 months. we need it with the urgency of yesterday. Subject it to a national referendum, the details of which the national commission, that is National Referendum Commission, will give to us. How do we go about it? What are the details of having this referendum? It's so simple. It's not rocket science. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Now we have to quickly take the vote of thanks. Vote of thanks now. Yes, the chairman says that Zoom may not be convenient, and so we want to take their intervention. They can take their written intervention from the Zoom, or they can send in a paper. But let me, the family of Nwabueze, Nene Okosa, will be giving the vote of thanks on behalf of the family. I recognize Honorable Nikki Kazim from Ogun State. You are welcome. Nene Okosa, the daughter of Professor Ben Nwabueze, I'd like to take Honorable Shegun Solme, but Mr. Chairman is asking us to round up.
Good afternoon, everybody. Permit me to stand on existing protocol. My chairman, members of the coordinating table, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nene. I'm a pharmacist by training and my father's 6th child. I also have my sister, Adeze, is here, and my stepmother is also here with me. My dad only unfinished work, which consumed his time, thoughts, energy over the past several years, is the transformation of Nigeria under a new and restructured constitution. As a prominent member of the 1976 Constitution Drafting Committee and subsequent Constitution Assembly, Daddy acknowledged that the committee erred in giving the center too much power in their search for unity. The operators of the Constitution in the quest to control the center with so much power created so much disunity. Daddy firmly believed that Nigeria will continue to exist as a viable nation on the basis of restructured constitution, true federalism, and respect for the objectives and interests of Nigeria's varied people. As we can see in all our discussions here, what Daddy believed in is still what we are standing and discussing here, which I emphasize again that he believed on true federalism, respect for objectives and interests of the Nigeria's varied people, and on the basis of restructured constitution. Based on this, I want to, on behalf of my family and myself, I extend my deepest gratitude to each and every one of you for gracing us with a presence, your presence at today's colloquy, organized in honor of my father. Your presence has made this event truly special and memorable. I would like to express also my heartfelt thanks to our distinguished speakers, our national leaders of thoughts, to our governors, former and the existing ones. Of course, I won't forget to our governor of Lagos State, that's our host governor, and to everybody for sharing their expertise, insight, and enlightening us with valuable knowledge and perspectives. I also want to extend my appreciation to all the attendees. All the attendees here, please, I extend my appreciation. Those who actively participated in the discussion, contributing to the richness of the dialogue and fostering intellectual exchange. My very special thanks goes to the organizing committee, the Patriots, currently led by Chief Emeka Anyoko, the former Secretary General of Commonwealth, in planning and executing this event flawlessly. Thank you very much, Daddy, for planning this. I call him Daddy. Since I lost my father, I actually refer to him as my father. Yeah. Last but not the least, I want to express my profound gratitude to my dad for his dedication, for his hard work and passion in his field, which has inspired us all. Dad, your accomplishments are a testament to your unwavering commitment to excellence. Once again, thank you all for being part of this momentous occasion. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you. Round of applause. The daughter of Professor Nwabueze, Nene, the mother of Prof. Nwabueze. Thank you. Well, we'd like to thank all the leaders on Zoom. Professor Otomi, we thank you. Senator Ben Obi, Dr. Nwabueze Kwesini, Dr. Akim Baba Ahmed. Now I go to the chairman closing remarks. Should I come to you, Mr. Chairman?
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats so that we can close the colloquium in a respectable manner. Well, my first words would be to join Nene Nwabueze Chukura in thanking you all for coming. I believe that the message from this colloquium is quite clear. The consensus of opinion is quite clear that the country needs a new legitimate constitution. And the message to the Patriots, whom I have the privilege to be the chairman, is quite clear that the Patriots should take this message to those that govern us. And I'd like to say that the Patriots will take this message to the presidency and to the National Assembly. We will, after this colloquium, do the message in the form of a communique from this colloquium, and will actively convey that to the presidency and the National Assembly. I'd like to say that I am hopeful, to put it most mildly. I am hopeful that we will have a listening ear in the presidency. And why do I say so? I say so because I believe that we are fortunate at this time to have a president whose democratic credentials have been very clear to me over the years. Because the man who is now our president, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, was very active in the Nadeko days
And in the Nadeko days, he was one of those Nadeko representatives who visited my residence in London a number of times. And I remember how vigorously he argued the Nadeko cause and how vigorously he was a Democrat. And not all wouldn't stop at that, because years later, after I had retired as Commonwealth Secretary General, I had the privilege of chairing a colloquium organized to mark his 60th birthday. And at that colloquium, where he and many of his friends and associates were seated, I, as chairman, called for the restructuring of Nigeria. I said then, and I have since been saying it a number of times, that from my close association with the governments of the 54 member countries of the Commonwealth, one lesson I learned was what I said in my opening remarks here today, that pluralistic countries such as Nigeria succeed only on the basis of true federalism. We have had pluralistic countries that failed. Yugoslavia, for example, broke up into 8 states. Czechoslovakia amicably broke up into 2 states. And coming nearer home here, Sudan, which had existed for centuries, broke up into 2 states. So that lesson should teach us that in Nigeria, we should deliberately manage our diversity. And the only way that we can successfully manage our diversity to remain as one political entity is by adopting a true federalist constitution. That lesson is gravely imprinted on my mind, and I will keep saying it. deliberations of that national conference, which both Professor Anya and the Arewa representative here told us from the basis of a document that sought to reconcile those recommendations with the existing constitution. I think that it would be useful to find that document and use it as a basis for producing a new constitution, which, as our keynote speaker pointed out and made the point, when the National Assembly is asked to pass a simple resolution establishing a national referendum commission, we can then put the result of that reconciliation to a national referendum. I would imagine, and that's where I would seek further clarification from our keynote speaker, the National Referendum Commission should not have anything to do with drafting the document, but the document will be drafted on the basis of the National Conference of 2014, and the responsibility of the National Referendum Commission would be to organize, in collaboration possibly with INEL, the actual referendum, so that at the end of the day, the Constitution, if it's adopted by majority votes in a national referendum, can be more truthfully be described as we, the people of Nigeria, have agreed with this Constitution. So, ladies and gentlemen, I leave you with the assurance that the Patriots will take this matter forward. We, fortunately, in the Patriots, have a veteran secretary, Chief Wale Okuni, who's been part of these efforts to make Nigeria's constitution for quite some time, and was a delegate to the National Conference of 2014. So finally, I'd like again to thank you, our keynote speaker, for the thoughts that you have given us, and to thank all of you, especially my colleagues in the Patriots, Ayo Adebanjo, General Ike Wanchukwu, Professor Anya, and I see the others sitting there. I want to thank you all for coming and joining in making this colloquium the success that it has clearly been. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before you sit down, there's a presentation of the Confab report to you. I call on Professor Anya, who is to present it to you formally, photographers. And please, can we take this part of it? The document is so bulky, I can't even carry it as strong as I am. So, Professor Anya, presentation. So, it's one document. This is the conference report 2014 National Confab being presented to the chairman of the Patriots today after 10 years for the Patriots to take forward the resolution of that confab to the future. Thank you very much. The presentation has been made. The chairman has received that, and here we are winding down with a closing prayer. And we have Mr. Salvation Alibo to give us the closing prayer. Father, we thank you for such a successful colloquium. We pray for the family of Professor Nwabueze, that you give them the grace to continue to honor his memory. And we pray that the discourse in today's event will lead to a better and greater country for us all. Let the fruits of this conversation be seen in no distant time. In Jesus' name we pray. Thank you all for coming. Have a blessed trip back. Thank you. Thank you. Torí kò sí ibòmíràn tí a lè lọ, àjò lè dàbí ilé. Ẹ jẹ́ ká sọ̀rọ̀ fún ká fìmọ̀ ṣọ̀kan.